Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the XWF podcast with your host, Chronic Chris Page, them no good bastards, Thunder Knuckles, Bobby Bourbon, and yes, if available, Bearded War Pig. And the action starts now.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Show number 3, technically. We did break up the last show into 2 parts with Theo and Benny. That was epic. Now we're moving forward. We've got a lot to cover this week. I'm being joined by, as always, by them no good bastards, future XWF World Tag Team Champions. Calling it now. Got Mr. Bobby Bourbon, Thunder Knuckles, both on the line, live and in living color. Bobby Bourbon, brother, how you doing?
I am being a nerd and looking at my Magic the Gathering cards.
Why does that not surprise me? Thunder Knuckles. Hey, man.
I'm great. Spaced out, but great.
Have you hit the bong already, bro? What's going on with you?
I cannot confirm nor deny on a podcast.
Well, I mean,
He's been following the Mars rover from 5 feet behind.
this is probably so. Man, guys, let me tell you this. Like, I miss the fuck out of y'all. I hate the fact that we didn't get to record last week. I was so kind of just like missing it. If that makes sense, because we'd done like back-to-back weeks of recordings, and it just feels like we're coming together. So I missed you guys last week. I just want to tell you that to start things off.
Oh, thank you.
That is super sweet.
I miss you guys too.
Can we quote you on that?
Yes.
Perfect. You got that, TK?
I got it.
All right, that's gonna be a great soundbite later. Later on, we got JB that's gonna come in on the show. We'll bring him in momentarily. But one thing that we want to talk about first and foremost is there's been a lot of questions about how the podcast came together, and what spawned us to do this. There's actually a story behind it that spared details, but it seems like the masses just want to know. So we're going to take a few minutes and kind of walk you through how this whole process came together literally within 3 days. So in advance, those who do not know me, you would not know that I'm not tech savvy. That's not in my genetics. I can fix fucking anything. That's a refrigerator, a stove, a dishwasher, air conditioner, electrical. I got you. When it comes to computers and cell phones and stuff of that nature, I lost me in 2000, bro. It takes a minute. With Discord, I was not aware that you could have these audio, recordings, and I happened to be cruising through Bob's server, and there was a TK's karaoke station. This was on a Saturday night, and I was like, well, shit, let me pop in here and see what this is about. I did, and I was on my cell phone, and I forgot that it was connected. I didn't know that you had to exit out of the conversation for the microphone to stop. Just had no idea. So here I am. I've been in this TK's karaoke station for probably like 30 minutes, 45 minutes. And Mother Nature started calling. I had to go take a shit. I have 2 cell phones. So the phone that my Discord is on was sitting on my counter, and I'm playing a game on my other phone. I started hearing these weird noises. I thought that I was tripping. Like, I had just put a joint out, and it's feasibly possible that maybe my mind was playing tricks on me. And I kept hearing it again, but it was really low and muffled. And finally, I picked up my other phone, and at that point, I heard a voice on the other end of it. I had no fucking clue where it was coming from, and I picked hello. And it's fucking Graves on the other end, and he's logged into the TK's karaoke station. Well, then TK pops in, And we started to bullshit back and forth, and told them the story. Like I had no fucking idea. I felt clueless. Uh, and then where did we go from there, TK? Did we actually talk about the podcast and doing the podcast that Saturday night, or was that on a Sunday?
That was on Sunday. You just figured out how to use Discord, I guess, and was like, "You want to do a podcast?" I was like, "I'm down."
Uh, while we were in the midst of that conversation, again in the live room, lo and behold, who pops in? Bobby Bourbon. What did you recall, Bobby?
Oh, it's like, hey, there's people in this voice room for some reason. What's going on here? So I just hopped on in, and you guys were talking about making a podcast, and I was like, hey, that sounds pretty sweet. Can I latch on to this deal? And you were like, sure. And that's about it. Like, I just happened to waltz in while you guys were talking about it, and I was like, hey, can I help? And I hope I'm helping.
Yeah, you are. You
Yes.
carried the first show at least. So there's no doubt about that.
I don't know about that. I think we all carry the show equally. I think we have a great dynamic, and not to kiss our own asses a little too hard, but one of you was wearing Brute, and I was impressed. But I don't know, like it just kind of found it. Like you guys came up with it, I just wrote along, and then we kept coming up with ideas afterwards. It was just like some shit happened, shit went down, and here we
Literally,
are. Yeah,
Yeah,
it literally went down. Um, so that takes you into Sunday. So I think Monday we were like, "Fuck it, you want to do it on a Wednesday?" And we
like yeah,
reached out to Bobby, like, "Are you free Wednesday?" And yeah, man, I'm off.
sure, all right.
There you go. Conception from beginning, middle to end. It really didn't take long, and
Yeah,
uh,
5 days. It was wonderful.
it was super. Bam, bam, bam. And now here we are, and we're still like getting our feet wet with it, and we're still kicking ideas around and trying to figure out like what can we do to entertain and to talk about everybody and what everybody's doing. It's fun and it's interesting and it makes it easier not to piggyback and like again kiss each other's ass, but it makes life a lot easier when the people that you're doing this with you like.
Yeah,
Like it's
yeah,
it's Bobby is a great guy. The fucking TK is a great guy. Like it's just we mix and we mesh really well.
yeah. I'm
Okay.
definitely the autumn of the trio. Um, I am very fond of pumpkin spice, and I wanted to let everybody know that I have been drinking coffee and eating spicy bean soup all day. I've been washing that down with apple juice, and I'm gonna crop dust the fuck out of my coworker.
Sounds like a great day.
It will be. It shall be.
Let's go ahead and move forward. I want to talk about our guest that we've got coming in here in just a second. Uh, Apparently, this guy handles so many characters that I can't keep count. Um, has been a staple within the XWF for a very long time, and had some really good questions that I can't wait to dive into a little bit later. Let's go ahead and welcome him in now. JB, man, welcome to the podcast. Welcome to the XWF podcast.
Hello, everyone. Hello, hello, hello.
Hello,
Are you,
welcome, JB.
this is where you say hello, Thunder Knuckles.
Hello,
Thunder
Thunder Knuckles.
So JB didn't grease your palm with X Bucks, is what you're telling me. So you can't talk to it. Is that what's happening?
Pretty much. I don't know. Spaced out.
Sorry.
I don't understand what's going on anymore. Just I'll talk to you guys
It's
in a bit.
Okay.
it's good to have you on the show, man. Outside of Vinny and Theo, you're the first handler that current handler that we've had come on, man. Welcome aboard. I'm glad that
And
you're able to take some time to come chat with us.
anytime, man. I was like, as soon as y'all brought this idea up, I was like, I'm definitely going to jump into this ASAP. Like, I don't care how, I will do it. So, no problem.
I think when we saw you were the first sign up, I know that from my perspective, like I don't. I've followed your character since I've come back into the Fed, but there's a lot that I'm not familiar with, so I'm looking forward to covering some of that ground with you. Hey man, TK, take us into Anarchy, man. Let's talk about the first Fallout show from Snowjob.
All right. First match, we have Salsa Tandem versus Joey Oddjob. Salsa Tandem is making her debut. I think Salsa Tandem will be a good character. I can't wait to see the next promo recorded on Mark's phone. Second match, we have Boris versus Ash Quinn. Boris wins via countout.
Next match on the card does feature JB. It's Tommy Wish and John Black of the Thugs taking on Ark and Blackwater and Brian Storm. JB, these are two of your 4 or 5 characters. So give us a little background on the Thugs. Oh wait, this says that. Oops, sorry, you did not get a match. So you win. Tell me a little bit about the Thugs and about the tag team itself.
Okay, so in short, I basically had this idea of like to put these two guys together. Like originally, like a year or two ago, like in 2019 or so, I was thinking like, oh, let me run a tag thing with these two guys. Like they both are kind of like odd in their own ways and everything. They're kind of like an odd team, but like in essentially what they are is just like two guys who just like to kick butt and just have fun. Before there was originally supposed to be like a very serious like militant like F the XWF and all that, but then over time I sort of shattered away from that and made them more like funner and more like oblivious to it all, like intentionally. Like they know that, oh, we'll never get the tag titles, but we'll still talk about that, but like we'll just have fun with it. We'll mess around a lot, we'll joke around. So essentially they're like like the new age outlaws, but without, you know, that kind of flavor, so to speak. So basically that's what they are. They're just basically two guys who, due to them being in the company at the same time and everything, and the timing was right, they're just like, all right, we're cool with
So,
it.
a question for you. So, there's one thing that you just said there that stands out to my mind, and like my red flag went up. Then I have to go back to it. You said that that you would never be tag champions. Brother, look at who the Universal Champion is right now, and tell me that you don't think that you can climb that tag team mountain.
Mm.
Strange. I say that to say stranger fucking things have happened. I think that you would be capable of taking the tag titles at some point down the line. Don't ever you discredit yourself, bro. Don't do that. Stranger things have happened. You know what I mean? Like you are very capable.
It's I don't know. I mean, I'm not gonna lie to y'all. Like, you know, I'm sort of like a very in a very short manner. Like, I'm a very pessimistic person. I tend to look at the negatives a lot. But like, you're right. At some point, if DDS, shout out to them, could get a shot, then maybe down the line, maybe they'll get a shot, and maybe even if it's like a 3 week reign, I wouldn't care. It's just like something to be achieving. You know, it's just like now also love for the tag division to go beyond that, you know. So that's sort of my gist of it.
Well, you've got the capabilities of getting it done. So you got to put that in the equation because it can definitely happen. You've got the tools. You've got the tools, and all it takes is the right story, bro. Like my rise to the Universal Championship, my backstory is, people will say that, uh, well, they say what they want to say, but my story, it took 2 years to get there, and it was 2 years of storytelling. You know what I'm saying? So it just takes that right story, and if you stick to it and it evolves, like you can get wherever the fuck you want to get to. Anybody can. It's just I used me as an example there because I thought I'd never get the uni title, and I just happened to, you know, get the right story at the right time to make that happen, and that's all it takes. You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense? Like it's all about timing. Timing is everything.
Very true, sir. That's very true.
And also to jump in on what you were saying, Chris, you're right. You shouldn't sell yourself short, JB. Like saying that you might not get it. You can get a title shot. Just go get one. It's not that. It's harder than you. It's easier than you think. So yeah, just go do it. And yeah, that segment though with Liza Minnelli, that was pretty funny. That was ridiculous. We got a new title belt and we beat up Broadway's beloved Liza Minnelli.
It wasn't just me. I was not alone. I was not alone.
Good heels do good heel work.
Let's not pretend like I didn't throw that nugget out there on the last podcast with Vinny. Like somebody should show up and take out Liza. Nobody did, so we did. I know that while covering the show that we've glossed over we haven't touched on Lackland's promos, but we'll get to that when we get to her match because it's all like kind of a build to it. TK, you got the 4-way with Big Money Oswald, Scarlett, and Savannah, and Minnie Morbid. This was the Idaho Spuds match. I think Bobby, wasn't this the match that you were looking forward to just because of the step?
I'm not going to say I wasn't looking forward to any match, but I don't believe I was looking forward specifically to a potato pit match. But it was entertaining.
I could be wrong. Somebody was like, "That's going to be the match I want," just because Potato Pit's involved. I can't remember who said it. I have to go back and listen
Hey,
to it.
you know what? The potato pit made it great.
Jay,
was a character in this match.
JB, have you ever fought in a potato pit before?
No.
Do you have any interest in fighting in a potato pit?
I don't know. Maybe down the line.
What if it was for the tag titles?
If it was, sure, they'll be up for anything.
Book it, Vinny. Book it. Make it happen. Make it happen.
Potato pit match.
We're gonna make the potato pit match a thing. Your next uni title match, it's a potato pit match. Mark my words, it's happening. Notorious
I'm pleasantly surprised by all of this match, though. Good big shout out to Big Money Oswald winning the match, but overall, it was a potato pit match and may be the first of.
Maybe the first and maybe the last. Is that what you said?
No, I hope it's not the last. It will not be the last. We're not going to let it be the last. There will be more potato pit matches. And I also insist that we see more Big Puddin' Herschel Kiss because that is the best name.
I'm thinking that that we should talk to the powers that be and get a potato pit T-shirt made for the X Bucks that we do not get.
Yes.
Shop. I think that would be awesome. I would spend some X Bucks on that. TK, would you spend some X Bucks on a potato pit match T-shirt?
Probably.
Next on the show was Ned Kane taking on Big Puddin' Herschel Kiss.
Bob's very own. Bob's very own.
Is that a Bob thing?
Yeah, he's a Bob member.
Okay. Well, I never know. Didn't know. Sorry.
Yep. Big Puddin'. Don't mess with him.
Well, Ned didn't because it was a no contest. So the match is pretty solidly written for what it is. Really and truly that's one thing that I can say when the matches are written, at least these guys are putting some effort into it. So it's giving everybody the opportunity to shine a little bit. Let's talk about Ruby, right? So Ruby's first promo as the 3-time Anarchy champion, I thought it came off amazingly as super baby face as it could be. Bobby, what did you think about Rubes coming out and for first time as the only 3-time Anarchy champion, and of course she's going to be interrupted by Lackland.
I think that the entire segment, it was all just a great read. These were people that know how to present a good story with their characters. These are two characters that mingle exceptionally well, especially on the Anarchy brand, and they're telling a really good story. It's very engaging. TK, what'd you think about it?
I really liked the spot where she did the flip off the top rope, playing by the rules. She wasn't booked in a match, but you only get
Mm-hmm.
one. You only get one, and Ruby plays by the rules. I just really
That's
like
true.
that.
JB, where were you at with this, man? Did you you following the story with obviously Lackland's first show back, which her segments, we need to go back and kind of recap this for a second. So her opening segment was kind of a recap of her snow job deal where she kind of just laid out the rules of Anarchy for moving forward. And now we get into obviously interrupting Ruby. Like there's something's gonna happen there. It's just foolish not to. Where's your head at, JB, with the Anarchy title scene and with Ruby and Lachlan probably coming to a head?
Well, to be quite honest here, I mean, where they're going with this is just like a very classic, like heel versus face dynamic. Here's the superhero chick named Ruby, and here's Lachlan, who's on her like William Regal commissioner. I will make everything proper and under my control thing. And it's like it kind of works. Like so far from what I've read, it's kind of like, well, hey, believe you me, if they go further, especially with the title, like 3-time Anarchy champion, that's a huge feat in itself because look how many people had gotten that belt and where they are now, especially Ruby. So if they continue this further, it'll be a classic.
To piggyback off of this, going back to something that we had discussed with Vinny when he was on the show, and you write for the show frequently, so I'd kind of be interested on your take as well. It's easy to write 1,000 words, but it's so much difficult to write 1,000 good words. And I kind of feel like Anarchy is a show that it's really put up or shut up. Like yeah, we everybody shits on it in character as a third tier show, but out of character in the bigger picture, and Bobby and TK, you guys correct me if I'm wrong too. Bigger picture is, if you're that Anarchy champion, that means that you're the best at writing 1,000 good words every week. That's
Mhm.
challenging to fucking do.
Yep,
Oh yes.
I
So
have to agree
JB,
with that.
go ahead.
JB, like, what do you think is your what is your normal thresholds when you're role playing? What do you look forward to role playing under? Do you like the warfare rules, the savage rules, the anarchy rules, or where do you think your strong suit lies?
Well, I'm gonna be honest. Ever since Anarchy came back to the picture and the whole idea of doing one promo, 1,000 words each week, at first was kind of tough for me because I'm so used to writing like 2,000, 3K, whatever. But the
Hmm.
idea of just writing one, one, uh, excuse me, like one RP 1,000 word cycle. That seems kind of interesting in itself because it's challenging, yes, but I kind of like that idea. Now, don't get me wrong, I got love for Savage, I got love for Warfare, but those rules and the role play count, sometimes I might get so lost. I'm just like, oh shit, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to keep up with it. So I'm more like a one RP kind of guy. Like basically, I'm a 1 minute man, basically. So yeah.
I would never admit to that, but okay. Uh, I think that I think it's just really difficult, to constantly perform at 1,000 words because you're limited. But also too, this is a point that I didn't think about. Like you only have one shot. You don't got the opportunity to come back and retort or rebuttal. Like it's a one and done, and that's it. Which takes it to a whole nother level to me. I think that itself is just so phenomenal. Um, Moving into we're segue straight from Ruby or Lachlan and stepping in on Ruby's time, rolling into her match, if that's what you call it. Like this is just a straight squash. I'm gonna beat your ass and talk you through it. Which is exactly what happened. Excuse me. The interesting thing about this, TK, I'm gonna throw it over to you. This was supposed to be your mainer event.
Yeah, the mainer event got bumped down the card to the show stealer, but we'll get to the show stealer when we get to the main event, right?
Yeah, I'm just
But
saying.
Sarah Lackland was bumped down the card. I can't believe that. I'm shocked. I don't know if anybody else was.
I mean, we'll roll into the main event because this is the one we really want to deep dive anyway. Like this was the match of the card from my perspective, and I think it was totally warranted with the work that both Kinsey and Fury put in. Um, I'm going to defer on talking about the match because I wrote it. So I know what it looks like, and I know the flow of it and the segments of it and how they are interweaving within the match flow itself. I want to kick it out to you guys. I when we get to the actual role plays, that's where I'm going to jump in. What did you guys think about how this played out? To me, it was a big money match for Anarchy. It's almost, I mean, that's pay-per-view quality that they gave away.
Yeah, that's one way of putting it. I mean, it was a great match. I mean, well read, well written.
Okay.
I really enjoyed the match. It was one of the best of the card. That's all I got.
JB, what were you when you saw Kinsey and Miss Fury booked for the quote the main event, which turned into the mainer event? What did you think? What were your thoughts? Like, did you see a clash coming, or were you just like, all right, cool, we'll see what happens?
Honestly, I was from reading it, I could tell that there's obviously that good dynamic between like Kenzie and Miss Fury and everything, and it's kind of warranted to kind of bump Sarah up a little bit to make this the main de facto show. So overall, not bad of a match. It's pretty wonderful, especially that like ass count where it's like he's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. He's like like it's just wonderful. That's all I can say.
Yeah.
Uh, I want to talk about the finish because the finish to me is where the bread and butter was outside of the role plays. Osira Themis under the Miss Fury mask. I thought that was a very clever angle uh, put together by Miss Fury for this match. Um, and I think that Osira only brings more to the Bob faction. So you guys are in Bob, them no good bastards. What did you think about Osira unmasking, if you will? And now she's a part of Bob.
It's a great addition. I mean, we know the talent's there in the handler, and I've worked with them before. I'm sure everybody here can talk about a time that they've spoken with them. Um, they're just a wonderful asset to the game itself and to the hobby. And I, look forward to working more. Uh, I think Osira and them no good bastards is going to be some fun stuff to write. TK, what do you think?
I think Osira being underneath the mask and then Fury coming out and pelting with the belt was a really good touch. Osira joining Bob, I love it. I've been trying to get that for a minute. I won't lie.
I mean, now it's there, man.
I know.
Strong work.
So it was a really strong show coming out of a really strong pay per view. The role plays for this Anarchy. I mean, I've got to shout out Miss Fury. That to me was probably the best outside the box role play and best use of 1,000 words I've ever seen. I don't know what else to say. I think there was like 23 or 24 people that liked it on the boards. It's insane. Um, Kudos, Miss Fury, that for that piece. Like that was amazing. That's all I can say about it.
Well, you can certainly tell that the match writer was entertained by the work of both the people who were RP for this match.
Well, I mean, yeah.
I mean, you can tell by reading the match. I'm not just saying like literally right now, but when you're reading the match, it's one of those matches where you can tell people were invested.
It's been it was a very Good master. When I saw that Vinny booked it, I was like, yeah, man, I got that one. That's if if I can get my hands on it, because it was a great fallout piece from Snow Job, with them being involved in the Fatal four way. And I think at Snow Job it was Kinsey who, or no, was it Ruby who eliminated Fury? I can't remember off the top of my head. But I thought that was just a good fallout piece. And both the writers deserved it. They both put up some really good work. And again, going back to it, it's easy to write 1,000 words. It's hard to do 1,000 words and make them mean something. So
Yeah.
kudos to both of them, for the great reads that they gave us last week. That kicks us into Savage, man. Bobby, go ahead.
Yeah, Savage was that was a hell of a show. So let's go ahead and just start at the top right there. Saturday Night Savage live from the class 1923 ice rink at the University of Pennsylvania in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. The arena that was made fun of by like half of the people role playing for the show. So the opening match, we have our esteemed guest JB versus Jerry Vaden versus the Storyteller versus Jim Jimson versus Claude Savage. Now, JB, do you want to give us any insight on this match? Actually, just looking over, there were a couple of segments where Corey did a lot to hype the tag team division, which I'm proud to be a part of. The tag division in the XWF right now is stacked, and it's only getting better. And
Yeah,
then,
the segment here, like, I don't mean to step on you, bro, but this was like a really good setup piece
oh yeah,
for the tag division. We're supposed to get a confrontation on Warfare where a debate should be made. We'll cover that on Warfare. Wink, wink. But go ahead and like, because this segment was really good to put some shine on the tag division itself.
oh yeah. I mean, I don't know. I'm excited. But then we go into the first match. JB, did you want to give us any insight on what it was like to RP for this match? And your thoughts on the opponents and the story you guys all told through your RPs.
Oh, I'll basically, you know, the role plays I've written for JB and the role plays I've seen from like the others in terms of the story is kind of like not bad. Like I noticed that like Storyteller was putting in his work. Like I was like, this guy could cut a promo. I love the pictures and everything. I did the whole pictures thing because I was like bored. I was like, oh, let me heighten this whole entire promo structure with these guys' faces on it so people will know who I'm talking about. And just overall, just like talking and talking. Other than that, like overall, the match itself, like especially the stipulation from a previous stipulation, was pretty cool. So I was like, hey, yeah.
Oh, cool. Well, again, congratulations on the win. Well, congratulations on the win. I don't want to say again, but congratulations picking up the win. Those aren't. That sounds like a tight match. Like that would have been a tight match for me. So good job.
It was well
Um,
written too.
oh yeah.
The writer took really good care of all the characters involved. It's a good read, and it was a good. To me, it set the pace for the rest of the show.
Yes. Following that, we did have a Queen's Court segment, and that was a lot of build towards the Shooting Star title, which also awesome. I like meaty segments where they're hyping the champion. If that makes any sense, because it
Mhm.
really just it delves into making the stories more three dimensional.
Well, the shooting star division itself, like, I mean, this division is kind of blown up over
Oh,
the
it has.
last 4 or 5 months. Like, Jenny Mist is a credit to that. Like that,
Oh yeah,
like
Jenny Mist.
that.
She Mist loves writing segments, long, beefy, just like succulent segments that are just chock full of story and written by somebody that understands how wrestling works. It's good stuff. When
Yes,
you read it in the card, it's amazing.
yes, and it's
But
just.
we're not gonna reread it.
I feel like no, not every line. I feel like it's only going to get better because there's a whole lot of deal in this, and you got Roxy making an appearance. Like, this is a really well done thing. Good job.
All right. Well, that leads us into the next match of the night: Hawaiian Hardhead versus Savannah Knightley versus Corey Smith. I liked what I read of Hardhead. He just didn't know about the soft deadline, I guess, and that's a shame because I think this could have been a lot tighter. TK, what'd you think of the match?
I think
Or
Hawaiian
just like
Hardhead.
writing wise, it was great. I'm sorry. But yeah, TK, what'd you think?
I think Hawaiian Hardhead has a bright future. Him missing the soft deadline kind of sucked because his work is really good, and I think it's going to shine through.
I'm right there with you guys. Like I've seen this guy perform at potential, and I don't know what happened with week one. And I'm sorry, Hardhead. I will sing your praises because I know how good you are, and I hope that I don't make you feel obligated or anything of that nature. But you are a phenomenal writer. I told you guys if he gets off the ground and he gets motivated, this guy's dangerous.
Okay, so then we get a segment from Vinny explaining the 24/7 title. Go check that out on the 24/7 boards. Then we get Alias versus Ash Quinn. And the match, pretty well written. It's got its wild steps to it because it is, an Extreme Rules match. Alias takes it. Um, Chris, did you have anything on this match? What were your thoughts?
My favorite is the very end where it says, stop it. I quit. I fucking love you. Now fuck off. That was the best line. The match is well written. It brings, everything it needs to bring to the table. I think we knew coming in that Alias had a pretty good shot at retaining. It's just the guy's on fire. Dude, he's firing on all cylinders, and he's a threat. He's scary.
Yeah.
J- JB, where did you think about the Extreme title match and Alias's? Well, this was his first successful defense, or because he won. He win it at Snow Job.
Yes, he did.
Yes, so this would be his first successful defense.
I thought of it was yeah, the ending part with the blowtorch and all that to show how sadistic aliens can be and everything. Like as far as I know, he could probably like in any match that has any extreme rules in it, if he has a blowtorch or anything, he'll be unstoppable. So I love the match.
TK.
I'm with you. The end of this match was just fantastic. The fuck off. I'm a mark for
Yep.
the word fuck, so loved it.
I thought it was glorious. I thought that line made me laugh. I just fine. Fuck you. I quit. I love you. Now fuck off. That was great.
We get a little moment where Alias and Ash, like, they talk a little bit. Then there's a little there's a promo from Marv. Marv from Lycana. They say something, which again, tag division is still thriving, and that leads us into Bobby Bourbon and Thunder Knuckles, them no good bastards, versus Atara Themis and Betsy Granger. Um, it was great playing against Atara and Betsy. Can't sing their praises enough. It's always fun to write with them. TK, what was your take on the match?
I love those two ladies to death. That was really hard. I struggled with the not talking trash. But it was fun to do. It really was fun to do.
It was a different. It was a different spin. It took TK out of his wheelhouse, and I thought that if I have to rank my promos for this particular cycle, I think Miss Fury's got my number one spot, and TK's got the number two spot with the rom com. I thought that was amazing work, and I thought it was fucking hilarious. Who doesn't like anal? Can we be honest here? I mean, the match is great. I wrote the match, so I already know the flow of it. I know that I wrote it with intent to make all four involved look good. I think Betsy's been on fire since she came into the Fed. I think that she's a threat and she's somebody to look at. and to look at and take very seriously as a future contender for the Universal Championship. Um, Tara will always be a Tara. I think that she speaks for herself with her work, and then you guys are putting your stuff together. I think it would be interesting if Betsy and Atara were to team up more going down the line and only further build that tag team division. Uh, JB, I mean, this was a pretty good little tag match, man. We were talking about your thugs later or earlier in the show. Excuse me. Uh, where would you fit in here? Would you jump in the ring with either them no good bastards or Betsy and Atara?
That's a good question. The first thing you said, the first name you brought up, that- I'll bring that up later. But definitely, if there was any possibility, I would love to see a team like that, like with Atara and Betsy facing off the Thugs. It'll be obviously one sided because those guys suck. But it'll be kind of interesting to see the dynamic between the two. And from the stipulation, the whole complimenting each other. If down the line that ever had to happen for them, hey, they could give off so many compliments that would just be like so funny. But yes, down the road, both teams, yes, beautiful. I would love to face them, but who knows?
Bobby, let's move on. What do you got next?
Alrighty. So after that, we lead into Hanari Karnes versus Arkin Blackwater versus Centurion in a Candy Weapons match. TK, what did you think of this match?
I think Centurion is the king of fucking candy weapon matches, man. Any candy weapons, Centurion will always walk away with it. I'm calling that shit now.
I'm calling that OOC that Centurion will put your eye out with a candy cane.
He probably will.
I think this one was one of mine too, if I'm not mistaken. I'd never really written one of these before, so I hope it came across okay. Oh, I didn't write this one. I don't think. Did I totally
Hey,
wrote this match.
hey, the Candy Weapons match is wonderful, but it is not the staple that is the Potato Pit match.
I'm telling you that T-shirt needs to happen.
That T-shirt needs to happen. Those matches need to happen.
What else do we have?
Next we got Big D on the Extron. Just for a moment. Then we get Nichols versus Jenny Mist for the television championship. And oh boy, I pity anybody that comes to Savage and has to deal with Charlie Nichols, even though this one went to a draw. It's still he's still the champ, and he has that championship's edge too. So TK, what did you think of the match? Actually, JB, what did you think of this match? And what do you think of the TV title picture?
Hmm. I will say this. Charlie, for as long as I've seen this man, and for as long as I've seen his work, everything, I feel like he is a perfect television champion. Even though the match was a draw, because it could have been on both sides. Miz probably could have brought the belt back, but Charlie, it was just what I'm basically from the whole match itself, the way it was structured, the way it was written, everything. It was such a close call. Once that timer went off, it's like, dang it, what's going on? But obviously, what I like is the fact that this belt is getting so much recognition, so much airtime, so much. It feels like you're watching like old school wrestling, but in like XWF form with this belt. That's where I come from on that end. So it was pretty good.
Yeah, I agree. I get that vibe of like WCW Saturday Night with the TV title. I kind of dig that. TK, what'd you think of the match?
I think Jenny brought her game to this match. Charlie retaining via draw. I love that shit. That's one of my favorite things of the TV title. The 15 minutes. That's all you got. So him retaining in a draw shows that he was in a tough fight. it was a good match. I enjoyed it thoroughly.
Chris, why don't you tell us your thoughts on the match, and then just go ahead and lead us into everything that happens after the match as well.
Okay, cool. First of all, let's go back to the TV title is the number one title on this program.
Mhm.
And I think that the beautiful thing about both the TV and the Heart title divisions is there are a plethora of people who can hold that title and make it mean something. It's one thing to be a champion. It's something totally different to make your title reign important, right? Um, Charlie's doing that with the TV title, and not only that, like you look at, I mean, we'll cover this later on, but upcoming shows, like he's got Doc in front of him. He was in the ring with Lackland his first month into the Fed or his first cycle into the Fed. He's progressively gotten better and better and better. And we talk about it frequently. This was just another one of those situations. I'm a big proponent of the draws. I love the time limit draws when it comes to the TV title division because it's an easy way to create an angle or build up a certain to build up a competitor to get them to another TV title shot. It gives you something to do with the belt. Now Charlie can come back in character if he chooses to and play it from several different angles, which is great. Um, and vice versa on the flip side, Jenny Miss can do the same thing. You have a ready-made angle at any point that you want to pull the trigger on and go back to, that's the beauty of the time limit draw. I mean, TK and I did one for the TV title as well. That's why, and we came back to it at Relentless, and we had a little gap between there, but the Relentless match it made it mean more. You see what I'm saying? So like it was really well done. The execution was really well done. The match was written well. Um, 15 minutes is it. It's like you say it in some promos. 14 minutes and 59 seconds of your 15 minutes of fame are up. So that's where it's at. I think that Charlie is dominating this division right now. But I also see a plethora of game challengers to step in line and step up to the plate and really push him and take him to that next level. That's kind of where I'm at with that. I think that it was a solid match, another great main event following the snow job, the epic snow job event. You roll from snow job to Kinsey and Miss Fury on Anarchy as your main event. Now you roll into the TV titles at stake with Demos and Jenny Mist, and it's like again the shows building on top of each other and making every main event and every semi-main event and basically every match on the card means something. That's always good to see. You see where I'm coming from on that?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
I think it's amazing. Um, and then moving into our segment, so this was like put together as to kind of go over the top with CCP finally winning the Universal Championship. Theo said it best. It only took me like 50 years to do it, but it got done. So I'm trying to dive back into the obnoxious heel role, as you can obviously see if you read the segment. It's mainly it's broken down into several parts. So you have the initial spot where I have Thad's belt. So Thad comes out, and we have our moment of attaboy. I give him his belt back because I debut mine, which I don't give a fuck what anybody has to say. My belt is the best fucking belt you've ever seen in the XWF as far as Universal Championship is concerned. Hands down. You show me one better, and I'll put mine up, with the Pepsi fucking challenge. Good job, Graves, on that design. Let me throw that shout out. So working with that, this kind of closed the book on that for the time being. Will we do another match? Time will tell. It was a good story. It was a great angle, and that's how we kind of closed it out. If you remember, after High Stakes on his first Savage, I came out and pretty much said I was going to the back of the line, and we'll circle back around and finish our deal at a later time. Unknowingly, at that point, that Rob was stepping out of the picture, and that was just ready made for me to step right back in. But that kind of closed that deal up. It debuted the new belt, gave him his back, got to tell him to go give it to his snot nosed kid, and remembrance of a time where you were once good. Being a douchebag. Um, from there, we kind of have a little Bob party, party with my friends. They were there the night of the big win, so we got to have a little bit of the bubbly. Of course, Barney has to have a White Claw. He's not a champagne guy. Another piece of this segment is, them no good bastards and TK basically calling, laying the challenge out for a future tag match at March Madness, which I think has money written all over it. And if Continuum doesn't take that match, they're stupid. That's just screaming for payday. And then it layers into, Miss Fury. Um, there's a little bit going on there, and if you take the time and read it and read between the lines, you'll pick up on bits and pieces of it. Basically, it was a segment laid out some groundwork in a couple of different areas. If you read the role plays and then follow the segments, so this was done to spotlight, Chris Page's friends with them no good bastards. It was meant to spotlight Miss Fury and spotlight Jenny Mist for her dedication to the Shooting Star division. And then I get to getting ready to speak on Big D, and we get another promo from this masked assailant that kind of didn't debut, but replayed back the initial spot from December 23rd where Rob was shown taken down. More accusations are being made, and Anarchy's kind of left with the cliffhanger. Someone's accusing me of some shit, and I'm just going to tell you, you better have evidence. What did you guys think about this with the story progression, kind of evolving from Snow Job to here, surrounding the Universal Championship?
I think that the storyline that's been coming along with it has been pretty good. I'm intrigued.
With this particular piece, TK, let me swing over to you. With this particular piece, where are your thoughts at with how this one ended, and where do you think this is going? I guess that's kind of the question I want to ask. And then JB, I'm going to get to you too, because I kind of want your take on it too. I'm doing this for a reason. I kind of want to see if story that I have mapped out in my mind is playing out the way that I'm envisioning it in my head. TK, go. I'm going to start with you.
I'm really interested to see who this is. All things
Who do you
all things point to one man, right? I think it's going to be Robert Maine, personally. I think it's going to be, yeah. That's what I think.
JB, what about you, man?
Somebody had to put that name out there. Oh man, the whole build up for it so far is kind of interesting. Like replaying the tale of the tape and everything. I feel like if the guesses are right, I wouldn't say it would be Maine. It'd be somebody else. But if it was, I'd bet my money on it. But from that storyline perspective, so far, it's gonna be some like very deep interwoven kind of thing. So as much as I've read, it's gonna be pretty interesting by the time we move forward. So yeah.
It's okay.
It's gonna
Good.
be
Yeah.
Sebastian Duke.
And I buried that bastard. What are you talking about? So we go from, we roll from Savage, man. We go, excuse me, we go into Warfare.
All right. Warfare.
Um, sorry guys, I just hit the joint and then it hit back.
That happens.
Warfare was live from. I'm not even going to try to say this word. The Sporting Dome in Rome, Italy. It's definitely more than 3,500 people or 3,000 people.
Chris, may I? May I?
Yes, absolutely.
Lotto-matical.
There we go.
Lotto-matical Sporting Dome in Rome.
There we go.
Whatever you said, man, I'm okay with it. If that,
It is
if
a bunch of. It is a word you can't even play in Scrabble. That's all it is.
we've this was another like 10 or 11 match show. We talked about um the quality of matches that were booked on the fallout of a big pay-per-view is that being impressive on the last podcast. Um and this kind of caps off that. We start off Warfare, small snippet segment of CCP kind of showing up to the building, just letting everybody know he's here. I'm a douchebag like that. And we roll right into the opening match of Tommy Wish and Sean Wild. Isn't Tommy one of your characters too?
Yeah, he is. He is.
So you
So
work
you're
every show that we're actually going over right now.
Yeah, I was just fixing to say that. Like that's something that. How do you do it?
Ladies and gentlemen, one of the unsung heroes of the XWF.
Oh Lord. I'll say this. It sure is fun having to keep track of all the deadlines and stuff because I don't know what came over me those times when I signed up, but yeah, I wanted to branch out my at least two of my characters, so I was like, "F it, let me just have some fun with it."
See, I think that's good. Like you're to write 3 shows. There's only a couple of you guys in the Fed that do that will pop up on all shows. And it's one thing to sign up for all the shows, as we are all aware of. It's something totally different to actually role play for all of them. And then not only role play for win all of them at that. So good job to you on that
Great week
front.
for JB. Great week.
No
for
shit. He knew he was coming on the podcast, dude. He was like, I can't fucking choke now. So yeah, kudos to you, man. That was, 3 shows, 3 wins, and I'll get into some of that when we get to the question segment because I don't want to bombard you, but I've got a lot that I'm going to pick your brain on. I want to throw the next segment over to Bobby Bourbon real quick. This was you guys pop up on fucking Warfare, and here we go. And this was it was a good meaty segment, man. So what I'm gonna throw it to you because you and TK wrote it.
Well, I just looked at it and was like, you know what? We're gonna have some fun writing, and that's all I really did was just go off and just goof off and come up with some silly ass shit. Like I knew from the get go I wanted to write about a hillbilly just showing up, and that's all I had. It's like we're gonna somehow get to a hillbilly, and then I talked with TK about it. And we went back and forth on what we're gonna do, and again, the only thing I could think of was that eventually we're gonna get to a hillbilly. So he
made it.
really, yeah, we made it. We made it to the hillbilly, and I'm actually more proud of the second segment, but that's neither here nor there. It was just some fun stuff because again, we're trying to contribute to the whole renaissance of the tag team division, and this is our contribution. TK, what do you think about it?
I obviously love this segment, right? We did it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it was a lot of fun. Robbie really comes up with some really random funny shit. So I just roll with it.
You can tell that you guys are having some fun with it, and that's where it comes through as a writer, and that's all that really matters. Like I'll get to more of that with Big D later on when we cover that match. But that's what I'd tell him. Was like, as long as you're having fun, dude, that's all that matters. And it shows. It shows within the work, and it shows within what you guys are doing. This is good stuff. We move from that. We get a. Let me back up. I love matches like this that uh, start early or get a false start, and it carries throughout the show. You don't see it often, and I'm not sure that it's happened in the XWF since 2019 was the last time I remember doing it with Shane Carver at Lethal Lottery. Uh, Doc and Bearded Warpig jumpstart the Boiler Room Brawl. And now, I mean, OOC, real life shit happens. Pig no show. Just, kind of like he's done with the podcast since day one. Uh, but the writing for the match itself, or as we break through it, this first part was really good, and I love the fact that that the match writer broke it up into sections and that they sprinkled it throughout the show because it made it that much more entertaining to me to read it. So. And then we'll get to it, but to know that it started right here early in the show and finishes late in the show, I thought that brought a different dynamic. Um, from that little spot, we hit up Claude Savage and Azrael Ubris. Eventually, I'll get it correct. Solid match for what it was. Azrael's going over here. I don't think that was a big shock. Um, we get a good Thaddeus Duke segment. This first one, meat and potatoes of this guy is Paul Heyman. Opted not to sign Thad up for the XWF tournament or the March Madness tournament, excuse me. Um, so we're seeing a little wrinkle there that I think everybody sees coming. Just to kick the fucker to the curb and send him back to Fox. That's kind of where I'm at. What do you guys think about that? This Thad segment where he's kind of putting Paul in his place.
It's solid character development. It could have fit on the character development boards. It fits on a card as well. And I'd much rather see this kind of thing on a card because then it's going to stick out a little bit more. But it's solid character development and kind of playing up that is a baby face and doesn't need a Paul Heyman.
Well, that makes me question, why did you hire him to begin with?
That. You hire him for the mouthpiece, right? That's the reason you would hire a Paul Heyman.
You don't need a mouthpiece. You're Thaddeus goddamn Duke.
Yeah, true.
You just had the over the last 7 months, 8 months, you've just catapulted yourself to the top of this federation. What do you need a Paul Heyman for?
Well, Paul Heyman got past Chris Page, right? With Thaddeus Duke. Oh.
No, who left? I left with the belt. I don't know what you saw.
No. Before that, before Duke was champ, he had Paul with him. So
yeah, I know. Yeah, he did, but he did not have Paul at Relentless. If that's what you're inquiring, or that's what you're implying. Paul Heyman was not at ringside for Relentless.
Not. No.
Yeah, fuck off.
Play nice.
JB, where do you stand with this character development piece from Thad?
I'll be honest. You're right. It would be a character development piece. Works perfectly as like a segment kind of thing to establish misfortunes of Mr. Heyman. Because if you think about it, why would Duke of all people need someone like him? What, as like a trophy wife or something? When in reality, from what I've read, what I could tell, if Mr. Heyman is going to be doing all that like sus stuff with Dad, oh, hey, he needs to rethink of who to trust in this scenario. So, but other than that, it was pretty good.
Well, here's a piece of information. Like my mind goes. You keep in mind, I just ended a 6-month deal with him, so I know all of his work over the last 6 months. And going into Snow Job, it was Paul Heyman's contract expired on February the 1st. This match takes place, and this segment on this show takes place after February the 1st. So if his contract expired on February the 1st, you had to have renewed it.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, as a client, and you had to have renewed his contract, this door's open. That's all I'm gonna say. Door's open. He needs to kick Paul to the curb before he gets in too deep. Unless
Oh,
he has a bigger plan in place, but there's some ammo out there, Mister Duke. I'm gonna need for you to fix that. Uh, Moving into match number 3. This was kind of a weird tag match because it pitted two Bobbies against each other.
ooh.
Mandy Ryder, Jenny Mist, and they were taking on Miss Fury and Serena Hazard. Which was a little that was an interesting little twist to this card because I wasn't foreseeing that happening. The match, kind of was what it was until you get to uh wait, timeout.
Until it wasn't.
Oh, well, sorry, I lost myself. Sorry, take two. The match was what it was, but it got to the segment at the end, which is kind of what it was put in place for. I feel. The bullet points that I want to touch on with this is apparently we have a new faction in our midst, and it goes by the name of Hell's Bells. You have Serena Hazard, you've got Ash Quinn, and you've got Jenny Mist. Uh, 3-woman crew.
So Jenny
Um,
Mist is Bob and Hell's Bells, and then we also have Miss Fury, who is Left Hand, and Bob, and then we have what other Bob members are in two different factions?
Them No Good Bastards and Larry, but it was dissolved earlier in the show.
I think
So
we should still hold on to our we have a loose affiliation with Larry. We just have to find another hillbilly.
I feel like that's such a rib on me, and I think that you guys do that together just to fuck with me, and if that's the case, well played. Uh, Part two of the boiler room brawl is what we rolled into next. This is again where I think it's great that matches, something like this can be broken up into sections, and you can kind of layer it throughout. I'm gonna throw to you guys once we get to the final piece so that you guys can kind of wrap your minds around all of it at one time and then give one comment. Um, Ark and Blackwater took on Felix Jones. This one was what it was. Felix is going over here. Not a whole lot to talk about. The match is there's not a whole lot to the match itself. It just kind of it is what it is. Um, Next little segment is a little pop up follow up piece where Steve Sayers trying to get a word with me. He doesn't get me. He gets Thunder Knuckles coming out of my locker room, and Thunder Knuckles is being kind of shady. You didn't see me. I saw you.
Peekaboo.
Charlie Nichols on the card, number 5. But before I go into this one, guys, I have to stand up and applaud Calypso's interesting. Top Gun song is a part of my childhood. It brings a a warm fuzzy, gives me the warm and fuzzies. Calypso, Charlie Nichols. Here we go again. Charlie Demos, excuse me, is picking up another big win. Continuing his momentum. I will throw it out here to you guys to discuss for a second. So, like we were talking about how JB was on 3 shows and has won 3 matches. Well, here's Charlie Nichols again. He's on 2 different shows, defending his title on one and coming in on another. 2 wins is 2 wins. What do you think about that? TK, start with you.
to win Charlie or Demos, right? Demos.
Oh.
Calypso, I liked his work. I liked Calypso's work. That should make me laugh. Charlie coming in, getting the 2 wins. I actually expect Charlie to win most of his matches, honestly.
Has it gotten to that point with you?
Yeah, I'm a fan.
Okay. Okay.
Yep, that's where I'm at.
What about you, Bobby?
Well, I think that it wasn't just a win for Charlie. I mean, we all know Calypso's hilarious. He's great. But this is Demos Charlie. It's his new development in his character where there's another personality, which is just more depth. And then it's a big win. It's devil hook drop onto a pile of chairs. That's not just I happen to get the win. That's an emphatic win. So that makes him look really good, and it advances Charlie further along. Um, and yeah, I'm a Charlie Mark too. I like his work.
JB?
And yeah,
Huh. Well, I have to say the same sentiments as y'all. It's a pretty interesting like trajectory for this man. His character change and everything, and obviously Calypso is Calypso. But when you have someone like Charlie who's out there busting his behind with these promos and everything, this match in my eyes is just like, all right, it's not like a squash match or anything, but it's like a it's like a even a fair split decision kind of thing, but it was more like towards for you know Charlie's character to totally become its own like entity of a beast and all that. So it was a decent match, I guess, in a way. So, but yeah.
Did somebody say beast? Sorry, had a minute. Had a moment. Your next segment on the show is from your new hard champion. I think this one was really, it's kind of just short and sweet. Announcing basically that Wednesday nights now belong to him, which is great. Unless Chris Page is on the show. Let's talk about this for a second. Where do you think the Hart division is going to go now that RL has got the belt? Because all out of character, I think that this guy is. I just started following in his work. Since he's come back into the Fed, I think that he's doing some really good shit. Where do you think he can take the Hart title, Bobby? That's near and dear to you, so let me throw it over to you.
if we're talking about what Edgar is going to do with the hard title, I think he's going to do whatever he wants. I think he just needs to step up, call out some people that are challenging him, and just play his character. And I think that he could have a nice, solid little run. Um, I think though there are other people out there on the horizon that if they got the desire to go get the hard championship, I think they'd give Edgar a run for his money.
Who do you
I'm not
think
going
right
to name
now? Who do you think right now?
Charlie.
No, you think? Well, you think? But
Charlie.
Charlie's holding.
Charlie's one.
Charlie's holding. What he's
Yeah,
holding
Charlie's
the.
already holding something.
So we're talking about somebody in play right now that's not holding something. Who do
Hmm.
you think? Who do you think would step up and say and give him a run?
Give him a run?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, honestly, if JB is willing to do the work for all three shows and just focused on one, JB could probably take down RL Edgar. I think that
Huh?
would be a good matchup. I think TK versus Edgar would be a good matchup. I wouldn't mind facing the guy. Again, that's a hard championship opportunity. I wouldn't sneeze at it, and I respect Edgar. I think he'd be fun to role play against. I think that there's a bevy of people out there that could challenge for it feasibly, and it's whether or not they can tell a good story with the man. And the man's a great storyteller, and just work with him. And again, I could see him holding on to the belt, having a pretty stout run. But yeah, there's definitely challengers in play if they just decided to move forward, maybe build something up, set up a cool title story or just even a match down the road. That could do wonders.
Okay.
I think RL could do whatever he wants at this point. He could take this story any way he wants. So I think he'll be a good champion.
JB. So Bobby kind of put you on the spot there. Would you focus on one character if a shot at the Hart Championship was offered and go balls out?
Hmm. Yes. If I was like totally invested into one character, all that. I feel like if I was strictly a warfare kind of guy who can put in 3 RPs a week or whatever, and believe you me, I would love for one of my characters that I'm solely focusing on to go after RL for their belt and all that. But yeah. Other than that, that idea with the future. I'm not saying now, but like in the future, if I'm like totally grounded, there'll be a day where somewhere I will come after for that belt. But that's not. I'm not saying that's going to ever happen now. But like that's pure speculation. But other than that, I'm happy for RL. I'm happy for him to get that belt and to make sure that that heart division get to the heights of that it can go with him as champion. So yeah.
I think we're in for an interesting ride. It's bound to be something to definitely keep our eyes on. Now we roll into the climax of the boiler room brawl. And this is where I kind of want to pick you guys' brain because I've already talked about how I enjoy that concept of being able to break that match up or break something up and let it play and build throughout a show to get to a bigger, kind of conclusion. So knew that Doc was going over out of character. Pig didn't role play, but this is where I can respect the hell out of Doc uh, and or the match writer themselves for not shitting on Pig's character when it easily could have happened. Right? Like the you have somebody that knows shows, you usually don't put effort into um getting the or trying to put the guy over in any form or fashion. So he gave it the time. They broke it up over the course of the show. What Bobby, I want to pick your brain first, man. How do you feel about the broken up match and how it played in this scenario, and then the final product with Doc going over?
Well, I actually really dig the broken up match. When it's even if it's not a known outcome, to do something like this, I think it's really interesting. It introduces just that all of a sudden this nature that makes this more of a wrestling kind of show and less just results. So we're getting that, like, it's like it's a living, breathing universe is what we're getting when we get something like that. The end result, it was going to happen that way just because there was an effort on one end and no effort on the other. And give it to Doc, that was still a great effort. He just didn't fart around. Um, TK, what'd you think?
I love the broken up matches. I know Page and Carver did one. TK and Graves did one.
Okay,
For
see,
the
I knew I
TV
missed.
title.
I knew I may have missed one somewhere.
Yeah, it was a finger poke of doom match too. So
Oh my god.
yeah, it was something special. I really like the broken up matches. Like Robbie said, it makes it feel more like a wrestling show. Doc is a fantastic writer. He didn't. He showed up even though he didn't have to, right? And I really like that.
JB.
Same sentiment as you all. The broken up segments and everything. It feels like you're watching a reoccurring like what's supposed to be like a straight one shot match. It's like, nah, let's take it to where it's like, all right, let's break it up by each segment to keep people enticed. Even though, yes, Mr. Warpig wasn't able to do much in terms of promos or anything, and knowing Doc and his skill set, it kind of made sense that they break it up in a way that like it will keep the fans interested, even if it's supposed to be like a one-sided affair kind of thing. But overall, and from what I could tell, it's pretty good. And if we continue this kind of trend at some point where it's just broken up into bits and pieces once in a while, not all the time, we can understand the characters' motivations and everything. So that's my take on it. It was pretty good.
Yeah, it's one of those situations to where, like, if in this situation it fit perfectly. Like that was just that was awesome. It won't work for just any kind of style of match, obviously. And if it's not done to death, then when you do see it, it makes it that much more meaningful. And that's what I saw from it. I thought it was great. I loved it. Kudos to whoever took care of that, because that was great placement and pacing the whole way. It leads us into the next segment with Mr. Edgar, and I'm loving me some Lacana. Uh, I If you guys get a chance to peep out this segment, some serious groundwork's being laid here, and I'm loving it. Um, I I'm not going to speak too deeply on it because this is Bobby. This is one of your segments. There's a lot of meat and potatoes.
Oh yeah.
It's meaty as fuck, as you like to say. You got RL, you've got Lacana, you got Marf putting in a cameo, and then you've got Ned, the former champion himself, comes into the mix at the very end here. I think that there's some seeds being planted, and Papa Page is ready for them to grow so he can smoke them. Like, this is
Yeah.
one of those things where I think there's something brewing that's got some legs here, and I know
You
I'm
were
not
asking
wrong.
about your heart division earlier. This is it. I mean, in a nutshell, you got Ned Case still in the picture. You have Andrew Logan. You have Marf. You have Lycana. I mean, these are all solid matches, and we were all picking Lycana to win a title by the end of the year. I could easily see Lycana winning the Heart Championship, and that's no slight against RL Edgar. I think that'd be a great match once it happens.
Well,
But the next,
Lyconic, go ahead.
yeah, Lycana just flows into the next segment too, and like
Yeah,
just Lycana just flowed. This was the Lycana show for a little bit, and that's cool.
it was some really good character development for her, and for Thad. You've got the follow up from the verbal shellacking he gave Mr. Heyman earlier in the evening. Um, Let me say this. So, after working with this guy for like 6 months, I don't know what's happening here. Like, I don't know where it's going. I know what's happening in front of me as I read it. Um, I'm very, very interested in seeing how this plays out, because that is a tremendous storyteller, and there's a huge opportunity here for you know not to use the word make, but if there was something with Lycana, like, it could instantly make her, in my eyes, like, from star to superstar in a snap of fingers. Um, am I wrong there? Is anybody else seeing that?
No, I see
Oh, you're
that.
not wrong at all. We all see it.
Um, there's some shit going on here, and I'm super curious. My interest is piqued. I'm not gonna go into like deep dive it, but there's some stuff, and with Doc at the end, it's kind of like the icing on the cake. Um, Here's what I have not seen, since we're kind of talking about Doc, and we were talking about the tag scene earlier. I'm still waiting for the debate. I'm looking for that. Uh, we roll into Thad and Marf next. JB, let me ask you this. Marf has been in the mix for, this would be his second full cycle, I think. And he's already getting in the ring with a Thaddeus Duke, former Universal Champion. As a character, how is Marf stacking up in your eyes with the progression of his writing?
Hmm, it's a character. I shall be honest about that. He, in terms of developing up and everything, he's doing well. That he should like. He could take it another level if he chooses to, but like where he's at right now, he's pretty good. And if he's going toe to toe with someone like Duke of all people, you know that he has worked his butt off to get where he's at right now with everything he has done in terms of story progression, in terms of like segments, in terms of whatever you can think of. I think where he's at right now, if he keeps it up, he could go beyond, say, a simple throwaway match against Duke 2, maybe. You're not like a title match, big for not like a huge title match, but like could be in a position of like where it's like, oh, people know who Marth is. Oh shit, he's the unstoppable guy. Ooh, you know. So yeah, I think he's in terms of character development and progression, he's going fine in my books, honestly.
Well, see, this is where I look at it like from a TV side, right? You got the you got the role playing side and you got the TV side. I don't think that Marf loses anything here. I think that the match, the way that this match was written, from beginning to end, was phenomenal, and it puts that character over on TV, even at a loss. These are the kind of matches that I personally like to see, and if you read a Chris Page match, and if I'm going up against a lower tier guy, you will see that you still get like a really competitive match, and that's what I love about this. Um, Bobby, I'm gonna ask you the same question. So Marf's progression, he just his second pay per view. His first one was debuted at High Stakes, I think, in the Battle Royal. Then his like legit first pay per view after a full cycle. He's challenging for the tag titles opposite you, opposite Doc and Corey, and now he's in a prime spot on a warfare against that. From a character standpoint, how are you feeling right now? If you're Marv,
Well, if I'm Marv from a character standpoint, pretty strong. Like there's nothing but upside now. That's all there is. It's just nothing but upside. And again, he's getting introduced into the hard title picture, so I could see him becoming a hard champion by year's end, just as easily as Lycana. Um, I also see, just the hard picture looks awesome, and he's a part of it now, like definitively. I don't think Thad's gonna be challenging for it anytime soon, but that's neither here nor there. TK, what'd you think?
I think the match was well written. Really, really liked it. Uh, that drawing first blood on Marth uh, wasn't it wasn't a one sided affair, and I think Marth has a ton of potential. He's just gotten in there with some like seriously tough names from the jump.
he has had some tough draws. Yeah, he has, the people that he has been going up against, it's almost like we say earlier, timing is everything. It's like wrong place, wrong time. Because somebody could be right in the middle of a really good arc or a really good story, and it will carry them so far. And I think that's where he kind of falls in. But I also think too, Bobby, you're right. There's nowhere to go but up. And um, from a writing standpoint, where he started to where he is now, he's still throwing some blows and he's still progressing as a character, and I love it. The next piece of business on this card is our favorite. It's my favorite, guys. It's Barney Green, man. The one thing that I will say is I love AC/DC, but Barney really needs to go back to Madonna. I that song's just so synonymous with me now because of Barney Green, and he took it away from me. I don't know how you guys feel about that, but I was a little disappointed and a little depressed about it.
Mm.
The match with Morbid, tables match. It kind of was what it was. I wrote it, so at the end of the day, Morbid is gonna put Barney through the table. But this is where it gets interesting, and this is where I want to pick your brains. Uh, them no good bastards. We get Mastermind coming out, and Mastermind and Morbid are calling out the tag championships for March Madness on a Warfare.
Yeah.
Couple of days after you guys had said something, right? So how are you feeling about Morbid and Mastermind kind of hone in on your turf?
Out of character, I look forward very much to working with Morbid and with Mastermind. I think that they're both great talents. I go back with Morbid. I think it'd be. I'm thrilled. I'm thrilled at the chance to work with Morbid. I know he called out the tag champs, but yeah, I'm thrilled to work with Morbid and with Mastermind. How about you, TK?
Um, I just released a promo last night, I believe. Uh, calling out this particular tag team. You'll have to read that. No spoilers, right?
Yep.
Right, right.
Yep.
Yep.
I
I
gotta
think it's
write.
gonna be. Go ahead.
Uh, no, that's right. I gotta write my promo because uh,
Yeah, you
that's
never
another thing
showed
too.
week one.
I know show week one, but what I'm writing is so special and so spectacular. It was just inspired strictly by Twitter. Somebody on Twitter said that there needed to be a movie of Alter Beast, the game for
We
the Sega
can't. We
Genesis.
can't. We can't right now. Let's put the brakes on that because
Okay,
we're gonna get into that when we cover the next cycle of shows,
all
the
right,
next cards because we're gonna have to talk about your fucking
gotcha.
challenges, man. You guys got a tough one ahead of you.
Oh
But
yeah.
speaking of tough ones, uh, this shooting star title match, the division continues to fucking shine. Ash Quinn, Lakana, Betsy Granger. The match tremendous. The way that the story that they were telling throughout this contest phenomenal. Um this is an amazing fucking match. This is pay-per-view quality. I mean, let's just call it what it is. And all three of them deserve it. All three of them deserve the time that this match was given. And Betsy Granger, goddamn, like how dangerous is she gonna be here within the well, how dangerous is she now? And then is she going to be as her stories progress and her arcs progress? This is gonna be some shit. Um, at the end of the day, here, Betsy's gonna pull off the win and retain the championship. I feel obligated that we got to talk about this, and I got to throw this out there to you guys because it's like with the shooting star division, it's almost like every title match is getting better. It's like a can you top this? Yup. What are you guys? Where you at, Bobby?
Again, phenomenal match. Just absolutely phenomenal match. Like well written. Whoever wrote it was obviously entertained by what they were reading from the role players. And that's a strong role playing pool. You know, Granger is no slouch, nothing to sneeze at. Ash Quinn's wonderful, and so is Lycana. This is a great match all around. You know, great to read the RPs and great to read the match itself. TK, what'd you think?
Uh, you asked how dangerous Betsy could be. Betsy's great now.
Oh,
Um,
I retracted very quickly.
I know, but I want to make that very clear.
Yeah,
She's one of my favorite reads, honestly. This match was well written. Uh, it was it was tighter than I think than a lot of people think. Lycana put in the work, but so did Betsy. So I think that was a really good match.
JB, what are you at with the shooting star division and how it's kind of progressed, and then how how what were your views on this particular contest?
Okay. First off, I would say the whole division itself is a huge step up from the bombshell division, if anyone remembers that, which was nothing. But now what we have right now could rival, I would personally say, like what it was back then to where it is now is wonderful. The women that come in and is dominating the division is just off the charts. Like, I love seeing what they can do, how they can do things, and everything like that. And then this match in particular, this match was pretty good read from what I've read so far, and just understanding the dynamics of it all, and basically just understanding on who is doing what to one another, and just overall just the feel of it is so like what you said, like a total main event quality kind of match on free TV, or in this case on a regular show. That if it was on pay per view, it would go off the charts right then and there. And then with the finish with Betsy, man, she could be the next freaking Ronda Rousey if she wanted to, or it could be the next like badass female who takes charge and defending on what's hers and basically ruling everyone in that division. But overall, it was a pretty good match, and the division itself is way better than what it was before. So yeah.
And no, Bobby, you still cannot take her to the prom.
Aw, that's still up for debate.
No, it's not up for debate. That's my wifey. Yep, nope, that one's all me.
I can't wait to
Um,
get Betsy on the show so she can
oh,
settle this
she,
once and for
it's good.
all.
It's gonna come down to it, man. Like and I'm gonna tell you, she's gonna side with Papa Page on this one. Mark my words. And she's laughing
Uh-oh.
right now as she hears this, probably clapping her hands together, saying, "Yup." Just throwing that out there. That's
Okay.
how well I know her. Um,
Okay.
it's gonna be good. She's gonna be fun for sure. Speaking of fun, I wrote the main event. I'll get into my thoughts about it last. Let's focus on the match itself first, with Big D, and then get into the way overbooked finish of the show, and we'll sort it from there. Title versus quote unquote Universal Champion versus the quote World Champion end quote Big D. Um, I want to just put it out there to you guys first to kind of kick it around and discuss, and I'm going to do it a little differently. I'm going to start with you, JB. What's your take on the Big D Chris Page title versus quote title end quote?
Okay. I would have to say that before all the overblown finishes was happening, before then it was a pretty clear cut match. It was kind of like a champion versus champion. Who is the better man of this whole entire company with that belt? Although yes, the world title is kind of like a more of a, as Vince Russo would say, a prop. But like in terms of that, it was a pretty good match. Like, a lot of takedowns, a lot of submissions, and then that like surprise where it's like, oh look, bam, wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. It was a pretty good match, honestly. So it's like, no lie, like it was pretty decent. And the story of it, especially, was also decent. Now, I didn't mean to partake in the open challenge that I think Big D posted that time, but it was kind of like an interesting dynamic between the two, and it was a pretty good match, to be honest with you. So yeah.
Bobby Bourbon.
It was I liked it. I liked reading the match itself. It was a lot of fun. It reminded me of like the big clashes. It was definitely like main event on TV show match. I mean, I enjoyed it. Um TK, what'd you think?
I don't know. I didn't read it.
I'm not surprised. Uh,
Ouch.
No, I'm
I
kidding. It was a good match.
no, he's not, guys. He's not.
It was a good match. The ending was over the top.
Well, that's the ending of the show, not the ending of
Oh,
the match.
well, yeah.
We'll get to the ending of the show, and it'll take us another 45 minutes to cover, but we'll make it through. I promise. Um, I think that this match, listen, uh, so Big D gave it his best shot. This is one of those situations to where to go back to like piggyback in when somebody when somebody's trying to do something with their character, right? I wanted to make him look as good as possible, and I think it did that. I hope it did anyway. Um, the focal points here at the very end. I don't know if any of you guys happen to notice that sweet little Join Bob video um, that mysteriously started to play. Uh, it led into the Beast coming out of Chris Page and putting the final touches on Big D and solidifying that there's only one champion, and that was Chris Page on this night. I thought it was a good little challenge to start off the title run. Big D was the first person to call me out by name, so he got that first shot. That does not mean you're gonna call me out again. He's done. What sucks about it uh, is that he put the stipulation in that he'd never get the challenge for the Universal Championship again. That
Ooh.
kind of out of character. That kind of bummed me a little bit. Once I kind of realized that the role plays were what they were at that point. Um, I didn't want to like take that away from him because I do think the guy's got a lot of potential, and he does like to tell some really good stories. Uh, I think he punched himself out in his first role play. Personally, I think I kind of figured that when I saw 2, and um, it was all over from there. The trash stood for itself, and the story was okay. The match itself was phenomenal. So now we'll get into the massive shit show that
Yeah.
unfolds after this nice title match. Um, I'm gonna, I almost not a knock on myself or Big D, but I would almost have let the Shooting Star main evented this show with everything that transpired after the fact, just so it could have been broken up a little bit more. If that makes sense. We get the let me throw it over to you guys, Bobby and TK, because you're the first layer of this massive cake that we're about to cut into, as far as the fallout. So take it over. You guys come down and throw down on Big D. What's going on?
Um, I think the thing with Big D is that it goes a lot deeper than what happened on the show. He was also like
Hmm.
just reading all the attacks as they came. It's like first it was them no good bastards, and then a spine buster, and then was waiting on the 82nd Airborne to show up, maybe, and then like who else was next? Like it should have been there could have been a lot more to like just the attacks on Big D and made it really over the top, or a lot less. Like it's one of those things where I feel silly because I contributed to it, and it became silly because so many people contributed to it.
Yeah. I'm right there with you. TK, where are you at?
Um, I feel the same way. There was too many people beating up Big D for no reason. Uh, Chris Page did it for like 30 minutes. Uh, then the No Good Bastards came out to defend the Foot DDT's honor. Uh, then Duke came out.
You know what, TK, they're gonna learn. Don't sleep on that fucking Foot DDT, man. I'm telling you,
I know.
it cost me my TV title and my hair.
Yeah.
I mean, it happened. It's a legit thing, and Big D just found out firsthand that Foot DDT is something fucking fierce, man. Not just the Foot DDT, it's the Rainbow Laser Death Sequence.
Yeah, that's the
With the
ultimate thunder
Pulmanizer,
strike.
That's high impact, guys. I'm telling you.
I know.
From that piece of the segment, uh, JB, I'll let you tag in on Thad Duke's contribution to the further beating of Big D. And here's what I like about this is in your segment, guys, I'm just sitting back and laughing. In Thad's segment, I'm just there, just sitting back laughing. Like I'm watching Big D get just fucking destroyed. Um, all just to get to
What did he
you know,
do? What did he?
yeah,
What did he
I,
do?
I mean, I just sit there and I mean, whatever, bro. You did you, but you make your bed. Now you gotta lie in it, right? So JB, what are you thinking, man? Where's your head at with all this?
Um, just reading all of this and just absorbing all of this, I kind of feel sorry for Big D in the process because it's like he's practically just a whipping boy at this point, and it's like he was the former world champion, but like all of a sudden, ever since he lost the belt, everybody, including Duke, is like, let's gang up on him and destroy him and just wreck
Well,
him.
let's be fair. Let's be fair here. Let's be 100% fair. So D kind of did this to himself,
Okay.
and here's where I'm gonna say this. In his pieces, he calls out a win over Thad.
Oh yeah.
Uh, his pieces against me, and he made fun of the Foot DDT
Oh.
because I'm apparently that inept to where I can't kick out of a DDT, a Foot DDT at that. Uh, completely negating the fact that Miss Fury popped me in the face with a belt right beforehand. So let's not forget that. I'm knocked out. But that goddamn foot DDT, motherfucker, I'm telling you, if had I not been hit in the face with a belt, it would have got me. So he kind of set himself up for that. And, when Thad reads something like that, I just know this off of working with the guy and talking to him and getting a chance to get to know him over the last year, half a year. Like, he's not going to take that shit lying down. He's going to come call you on it. And that's what he did. It's just, that was one of those deals where you reap what you sow. You opened your mouth, somebody put a strat in on you, and it got you. So in that regard, yeah, I mean, I don't feel sympathy for D because he wrote a check that his ass couldn't cash. So it was kind of like a lesson learned. So that was my take on it. So we get all that just for me to christen your new quote world's heavyweight champion, end quote. Page doesn't want the belt, but he's going to give it to somebody who does, and of course that's Miss Fury of Bob. Where these are my friends. You got to look out for your friends, right? So here's where the tomfuckery continues. Thunder Knuckles and Bobby Bourbon, who were just out here, a minute and a half ago,
doing a move,
are now coming back out as if they haven't been out here at all. Like, this continuity for us, folks.
We went back and got a snack.
Yeah, right. You got a little parch.
Bobby was hungry. Bobby was hungry.
Yes. I left my peanuts backstage.
And listen, let me stop and say this. Like, guys, when you're listening, I do not. We're just poking fun because that's what we're doing. Like, we're not serious. This is just us picking our own work apart because we probably wrote these segments and didn't talk to each other about it. So that's where we did not collaborate. So I'm busting my balls because I wrote some of this, and I'm sure that they wrote some of it, and I'm sure Thad wrote some of it. So we just didn't get together. If we'd have gotten together on it, we probably would have done a lot better with it. So we're just kind of kicking ourselves in the nuts. Anyway, Miss Fury is handed the world's champion, and I christened her the world's heavyweight champion because she deserves it. She just knocked off Kenzie, and she's on a roll, and she'll do something with the belt, and we'll see where that goes. I think that it was a good little spot. So what do you guys think about me, kind of christening Miss Fury as the world's heavyweight champion? Bobby, go ahead.
I think it's a solid move. It continues the belt. It gives the belt something to do. And Big D wants to come back and try to get it back. He can. There's storylines already written into it.
Well, see, here's where. Well, hang on one second. Here's where I got where my head went with it when I was thinking about it, because I didn't want to carry around two belts and continue that piece on, but Miss Fury is on Anarchy, and Anarchy. I thought that based off of the role plays and the momentum from Snow Job in through Anarchy, that would be a great crutch for maybe for her to use down the line. For an Anarchy title match or something like that. Like, I just think that there was so much potential with that for several different people, but I'm not gonna lie, the comic book role play sold me on it, put me over the top, and I was like, that's where I'm gonna go with it. TK, go ahead.
Miss Fury getting the world title afterward. It's only funny to me because Bobby and TK had shat all over that belt just earlier in the show, and now we're going to sell the shit out of it. So
continuity at its finest, folks.
So
it's not fake anymore, though. That's the thing.
As soon as Fury got it,
it's legit.
Yeah, I mean, it's just where it's at.
But because we said so.
JB, do you see the potential of the World's Championship going since it's been bequeathed to Miss Fury?
Okay, well, I'm actually glad that she got the belt. You christened her that belt, so that's even more of a plus on her part. Yeah, I mean, honestly, that belt could open doors for the character to, reign supreme to the brand or whatever. And like, you're right. Maybe one day, maybe Big D will come back and try to claim it back, but you have to go through hurdles and hurdles of people to get his belt on some like, I want my belt back. I will get that back. I don't care how long it'll take me, brother. That kind of thing. So yeah, I'm glad that she has the belt that you gave her, and for as long as I've seen Miss Fury's work, it's warranted. That's all I can say. Good.
So from there we get to the final piece of business for Warfare. If it couldn't get any bigger, folks, it just did. Uh, Before Miss Fury could even speak, the lights go out and we get another message. And this message, it's interesting, guys, because it changes the ball game. Uh, the culprit of who cracked Robert's skull has been solved.
It was me.
Dun, dun, dun.
Oh, Thunder Knuckles cracked Robert's skull. So this whole
How'd you
time,
do?
you motherfuckers thought it was me. You're wrong. It was not. So fuck you for all those
Oh, but
that
no.
that prejudged me.
Oh.
Um, it's not done there. So apparently, I've told the truth, but I haven't told the whole truth. What I thought was interesting about this piece when I put it together, um, was not going back to a live shot. So the show ends with this. So you get no reaction from Paige, and you get no reaction from Thunder Knuckles or anyone involved in the segment. It's open to interpretation with how this thing has ended. So TK, we're gonna come to you last, man, because you're the perpetrator. It's out there now. The public knowledge is there. Bobby, when the reveal of Thunder Knuckles being the man who attacked Robert Maine on December 23rd came out, what was your thoughts on that?
My thoughts? OC was, wow, oh shit, that's good storytelling. IC was like, that's hearsay. That's my partner. He would never do something so terrible.
JB?
Hey, when I saw that part, I was like, wait, hold up. Why would TK? Oh, maybe somebody bribed that motherfucker. Who knows? But I had no idea TK would be so savage. When I read that, I was like, damn. I, Out of character, it was like, oh, not a bad storytelling. But in character, I was like, if I was JB like, damn, he a cold motherfucker. God damn. Hmm. And that whole scenery where it's just literally text that will fade out the show is so perfect. Like what you said, no reaction, no in ring, nothing. It's like, oh wow, this is like some deep, serious, like, oh boy, what's next on the train of crazy town, So it was pretty good.
The answer to that question is a lot. But before we get there, Thunder Knuckles, why, man? Why did you crack my boy's skull?
Well,
Right.
the only thing I will say right now is he had it coming. That's it. That's it.
Oof. Ouch.
Thanks for listening to the XWF podcast. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the XWF YouTube channel. Follow us on Twitter at XWF1999. And don't forget to check us out at XWF99.com. Be sure to join us next time where the action never slows down.